everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are exploring the rapid scaling mechanics of a modern residential service enterprise. In 2026, transitioning a trades business from an agile startup into a dominant regional player requires far more than technical expertise. It demands building a disciplined corporate culture, deploying robust sales infrastructure, and aggressively leading the charge towards sustainable energy solutions. Joining us is Ross Harold Palfrey, the owner of Harry's Home Comfort, based in National Capital Region. Ross is a dynamic young entrepreneur who has successfully scaled his company from a two-person operation into a robust enterprise with over 30 employees and contractors. Having already optimized home efficiency for over 10,000 homeowners across Ottawa and the Valley, Ross is a master of executing high growth strategies in highly competitive local markets. So, without a further ado, let's dive in and welcome Ross. Ross, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me. It's a very nice intro.
Thank you. No, it's quite impressive. Thank you so much for being on the show with us. And we'd love to kind of start our conversation by understanding the anatomy of a bootstrapped launch. Ross, the journey of building an HVAC and home improvement company usually begins with massive hours, low margins, and a single vehicle. Please tell us what helped you successfully launch Harry's Home Comfort in Ottawa.
Me personally, I think it was because I came originally from a sales background and I sort of in technology. So I was sort of able to bring a breath of fresh air into a very legacy style business where things are still done for the most part pen and paper, and sales are pretty much just done by service technicians. So I was able to find a gap inside of the home service market where homeowners were paying way too much for for their energy bills. Not a lot of solutions in place, only replacements done when things broke, but not proactively to save energy. So that's the angle we really took it at. And at the beginning, we just focused on generating new business and sales and focused on fulfillment once we had the customers. So it didn't require a whole lot of capital to get started. And once we found our first few customers who could really trust us, of course, we were able to scale from there.
Absolutely. And that's such a good way to start the conversation by understanding the motivation and the inspiration behind you finding the platform. And you're right. I mean, grounding your early launch is in a hyper focused, customer first culture is what builds the local brand reputation that is required to secure your first wave of market momentum. Now, let's explore the challenges of succeeding as a young trade entrepreneur. Ross, what lessons helped you earn trust as a young trade entrepreneur?
Honestly, it's just being able to see customers face to face. You know, like it's whenever you go into the home, it's being genuine that you're there to help the consumer figure out what their problem is and the best solution for them. It's so often, especially in this trade, building trust with customers that a lot of homeowners don't really understand this stuff. You know, the average homeowner has no idea of the mechanics of a furnace, an air conditioner, or a hot water heater, similar to how people who drive cars nowadays, for the most part, have no idea how to work on them. And so they rely on their mechanic in order to fix their cars, just like homeowners rely on a trusted HVAC company to fix their system. So I just think leading with the customers' problems first, identifying them and providing a fair solution to them is what's going to help build trust long term, especially starting out as a young entrepreneur.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing what young entrepreneurs can use to succeed as a young trade entrepreneur. And you're right, prioritizing strict quality benchmarks and clear internal scorecards that really allows a young leader to command respect across the entire organization. Um, now, Ross, let's look at building a strong sales systems for sustainable growth. Why is a strong sales structure essential for scaling a home service business?
It's the lifeblood of the business for the most part. I mean, without sales coming in, nobody else gets paid. So a strong sales system is what's going to drive and propel the company forward. And really, it's just having a good chunk of your budget for the company allocated towards marketing, brand awareness, and lead generation, so people can actually learn about that. Will know that you exist, which is the hardest part when starting in the home service industries. There's a lot of that have been around for, I mean, in our local market, some have been around for over 100 years. So they have their roots very deep planted within the market. So having a strong sales system mixed with marketing is what allows you to be able to penetrate into these markets, and take a, a share of it for yourself.
No, Ross, you're absolutely right. In terms of designing a clear framework that pre-builds trust before your technicians ever step onto a client's properties, is what dramatically increases our close rates while protecting our own margins. So thank you for really highlighting how do we build a high impact sales structure right there. Now let's explore the shift towards clean energy and battery solutions. Why is Harry's Home Comfort expanding into solar and battery solutions?
You gave me the cliche answer, which is it's the future, but it is where things are headed. I mean, we just want to be future focused. Like a lot of well, in all honesty, just the cost of energy right now is so expensive, particularly with legacy heating systems. Inside of our, our location, a lot of people are still heating with natural gas, propane, even fuel oil in some cases. And on the latter side of that, like oil, I come across some people spending 4,000, 6,000 dollars a year just to heat their house, let alone the lights. So I find the switch towards, or the transition towards, with Harry's, focusing more on what I like to call home electrification and sustainable energy production, is mostly just to help homeowners take control of their energy, produce as much of it themselves by even getting into solar, using batteries to store that energy that they produce so that they can use it to heat their homes, cool their homes, keep their lights on, and not be at the whim of the energy companies and the prices that fluctuate so often.
Mhm. This is very helpful to really understand the clean energy and the battery pivot. And it tells us that aligning our company's product line with the growing consumer demand for the total utility independence, it really future proofs our brand while really driving a massive bump in our average transaction value. Finally, Ross, let's look at scaling from a small crew to a large organization. Ross, tell us, how did you scale your team while protecting your company culture?
It's by having clear systems and procedures in place from the very beginning. So we had set out our company culture guideline, compliance guidelines, sales guidelines, and when we would onboard someone new, of course, we'd go through the, systems and procedures for onboarding, CRM management. But one thing we would really hit home every time is how to stay compliant and meet the expectations of the culture that we're running. And just setting that framework, I found right from the beginning, especially with your sales staff and your service technicians, would sort of allow them to hit the field already having an expectation of what it is they need to do and how they need to act as we grow as a company. So everyone is sort of singing the same song across the entire organization, and that was easy to do just from the start, which with each individual.
Mm-hmm. Investing early in such a formalized leadership development and structured compensation plans, it really helps prevent an aggressive growth phase from fracturing your company culture. So thank you for highlighting that. Now, Ross, as we wrap up this conversation, what advice would you give a young contractor that is starting a business today?
The sooner you can figure out how to get away from the tools and work on finding new customers is the sooner your business will grow. I see it's a very being a contractor in general across all the trades is primarily an extremely fragmented industry for the most part. There's lots of one man, two man, and three man shows where it's primarily just the guy who knows how to do the work, getting referrals from his customers and doing the work for the customers and trying to do everything themselves. And I think once you realize that it's not just about knowing how to do the work, but learning how to find people who can help you do the work so you can focus more on growing the business and finding more customers, is whenever a you go from just a small independent operator to a small business owner.
No, that is a great reminder that optimizing for long-term trust and building real systems will always outperform a chaotic pursuit of short-term revenue. Thank you so much, Ross, for joining us and for sharing such great expertise and your vision. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And listeners, that was Ross from Harry's Home Comfort, a masterclass in transitioning your trades business from two people to 30, building a high performance sales structure and leveraging solar innovation to future proof your company in 2026. Thanks again for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. And before we leave, a special shout out to ADP and UPS for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please keep thriving, and we'll see you in the next one.